This is your host, JV Dine. So much to talk about this week. I'm hyped. I'm getting hyphy. Let's get right into it.
I ain't done turning up, bitch. I ain't done turning up, bitch.
Chief Keef announced a new mixtape, The W, and he actually even posted a track list and a real cover art, which means there's a decent chance we might actually get this one. And last week, Fredo actually posted the cover art for Mansion Music, a new cover art. So Mansion Music, which we were supposed to get in November of 2014, and which has kind of become this legendary, hyped, missing Chief Keef mixtape, along with Thoughtbreaker, which we got this year. There's also Crash of Computers, UFO Overload 2, all these tapes we never got that he's posted. There's a ton of other ones. We remember, I think it was in 2014 or 2013, probably 2014, that Young Thug said he had a collab tape with Chief Keef. We never got that. Still waiting on Big Gucci Sosa 2, which I believe has been hinted at. That's really what I'm most hyped about. I would really love that. 2017 Gucci, top of his game. 2017 Keef, who I feel like is pretty divisive among Keef fans right now, his output this year. A lot of people thought 2017 was weak, and it was all right. I didn't think it was his best work. But then people are hating on Thoughtbreaker because he kind of polished up his sound and was going for something different. And I think it's funny because back in 2013, because I've been a Keef fan for a long time. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, so he was a big deal around here when he first broke out. I remember in 2013 when he dropped Bang 2, all of his fans were like, this is shit, this sounds awful. He mixed and mastered it himself, so it sounded kind of rough and muddy, and he was going for this whole different auto-tune sound that was really slurred and really lo-fi, and people said this was garbage. And now 4 years later, it's recognized as one of the most influential projects in trap music over the last few years, and it's kind of birthed this whole new wave of rappers. So I think something similar, I don't know if it's going to birth a whole new wave, but I think something similar with Thoughtbreaker that came out earlier this year is going to be among the ranks of those Keef projects that in a few years will be recognized as really great. But yeah, there were some jams on that. My Baby was a dope song. Drankhead is one of his best songs. I don't know how people don't recognize that. Another song he needs to do a video for. I think it seems like he released Thoughtbreaker and then just kind of swept it under the rug, even though he's done promotional things for it. He's done some interviews. He actually tweeted about it and posted on Instagram, which he hasn't done with past mixtapes, which is totally nonsensical. Why would you put all that work into a project? You release it to your fans and then not hype it up or try to get people to download it or listen to it. But I guess it's part of the Chief Keef mystique. So we've got this new project coming out called The W, which he first tweeted about a couple weeks ago, and I didn't really think it was a real project, and I think a lot of Keef fans felt the same way. He posted a few different cover arts for it, and then all these Chief Keef fan accounts were posting different artwork for it that was made by Colorful Moolah, who is Keef's official artwork dude and who designs all the Glow Gang stuff, the t-shirts and all that. So he posted the artwork for this The W mixtape, and I think, like I said, a lot of people didn't think it was actually going to drop. And then a few days ago, he posted a new artwork for it that seemed very official with the caption, like, for a track list, which seemed to indicate that he was going to drop a track list and then hopefully drop the project. And so he instantly deleted that, of course, and people were liking it like crazy, but the photo disappeared soon after. So I think at that point, we all reconciled that the project was never going to drop. And then a few days later, out of the blue, he dropped the track list, then quickly deleted that again. But what's interesting about the track list is that it's only 10 songs. We got features from Ball Out. We got features from, I think, Tato's on there too. Trey Savage. We got Lil Baby on there. A couple other guys. Pretty feature heavy for a 10-song mixtape. And I don't really know. It seems like 10 songs is really more of like an album than a mixtape. Usually mixtapes are longer. In an album, you try to get more of a concise punch to your release as opposed to a mixtape where you're kind of just putting music out there. So I don't really know how he plans on releasing this one. In terms of expectations, I'm hoping we get more stuff like Kills and Minute, those singles he dropped earlier this year. And he kind of took a right turn on Thoughtbreaker because first he dropped Kills and Minute, which are kind of these Bankroll Fresh influenced kind of Atlanta-style bangers. And then on Thoughtbreaker, he kind of went for more of these like lush, he had CB Mix, who's kind of his in-house producer now, but these lush, kind of slow, melodic instrumentals, and him really crooning on them and pushing into new styles and experimenting. And I think it was like a Pitchfork review or something, and of course it's super pretentious and obnoxious, but they refer to it as like a space-age gangster ballad for the millennial generation, or some really gay bullshit like that, but it was actually pretty accurate. It sounds like a love album from space. It's this auto-tune, strung-out thing, so when we went from the singles like Kills a Minute into that, it kind of seems like, where's he going with the sound? But I'm hoping we get just 10 tracks of bangers. He dropped a track with Fredo and Ball Out and Tato about a week ago called Go Live. produced by Southside. That went really hard, and I hope we get more 808 Mafia production on this, because Keef, Fredo, and 808 Mafia go together really well. By the way, we also have a Fredo feature on this tape, which Keef and Fredo always go together really well. And then the Lil Bibby feature I'm really interested in, because he hasn't really worked, I mean, Keef hasn't really worked with a lot of Chicago dudes who say they're super influenced by him. I mean, Bibby, Herb, all those guys, that kind of wave of rappers that came up in like 2013, 2014 after the Keef wave kind of crashed, and then the new wave came after it. Those guys were undeniably influenced by Keef, and it was Keef's rise to prominence that put the magnifying glass on Chicago and made people be looking for new talent out of Chicago. Kind of the point of what I'm saying is that Keef's original rise to prominence pushed all these guys out, and then he's kind of worked with them intermittently over the years, even dudes that he specifically came up with, because Burb and Bibby came after Keef, but he kind of came up with Dirk, he came up with Reese, and then over the years he's kind of not really worked with them very much and seemed to distance himself from the Chicago scene. So I'm really interested to hear his collaboration with Lil Bibby. I think it's going to be something interesting to hear their two styles mesh. I hope the features don't weigh down this project. I hate when a project's short and it's packed with features, because I feel like the artist's voice isn't really coming through and you're hearing too much of other people. So I hope we don't get too overshadowed by the other members of Glow Gang, and we don't get too much production that kind of distracts from Keef. I think he works best over production that melds with his voice, and that he's kind of, because he has such a strong voice that really comes through under the cut of the melodies of the beat and the bass and things like that. And that's kind of what drew people to his 2013, 2014 sound, was that it was these weird, hazy, melodic, almost Chicago bop beats, a lot of what he was doing. But then his voice is so forceful and so strong and so unique that it comes through over the top of that, and it creates this product that's strangely alluring, I guess, very unique and very almost bizarre sounding, but in a good way. So I'm hoping we get more of that. And I'm hoping we get more of that sound like we got in Kills a Minute, like I said, because he was, really rapping on those, and I think it's an interesting new style. His bankroll kind of imitation style, he was experimenting with it. I think he kind of first started experimenting with it on Finally Rollin' 2, and then 2017 he was working with that style too. And it seems like on these more recent singles, he's kind of perfected it a little bit and reined it in a little bit and made it a little more interesting. So I'm hoping we hear more of that. But I'm very excited for it. Who knows if it'll ever even drop? Because if you recall, 2 years ago, I mean, I just remember this because I was so disappointed. I was so excited for Mansion Music, and he had been teasing snippets of it on his Instagram. This is November 2014. I remember because I was on Thanksgiving break. He had been teasing snippets of it on his Instagram. We had heard some songs from it that had leaked. Everybody was real excited. It was going to be his comeback tape. It sounded awesome. He had some, I can't remember who the producers were on it, but some really exciting producers, some cool features on it. He dropped the cover, dropped the track list, dropped snippets on his Instagram that looked very official. It was like, it looked like it was made by his label to promote the project, and then it just never came, and he never tweeted about it or said anything about it, which is bizarre. And it even, if I remember correctly, had a set date. Like, there was a countdown on DatPiff, and then all of a sudden, it was like, 6 hours before it was supposed to drop, the countdown just disappeared, and then we never heard about the tape again until, I mean, maybe he's mentioned it in tweets a year or two later, not that I'm aware of, but I haven't heard anything about it from him since that, until Fredo tweeted up a new cover for Mansion Music. So we'll see if that ever comes out. We'll see if the W ever comes out. If so, I'm excited for it. If not, I mean, we've kind of gotten more Keef material than we can really ask for this year. He usually releases stuff pretty sparingly, and most of what we get are leaks. So hopefully we'll get some more, but if not, I feel like we can't really be disappointed as fans. And he'll drop something else before the year ends. It's just like he just dropped Thoughtbreaker in late May, early June. So I don't know. I feel like there's not that much pressure on him to drop something else.